happens, we've got the back. But let's say we have a craftier opponent who's not just going to let me swoop his chin and choke him. All we're going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit lower of a collar grip with my hand that is over the shoulder. So this hand, I'm not reaching for that like super deep grip here. Reaching just about chin level. Now, while we're setting that grip up, all I'm going to do, my same side foot's going to post to the hip. My other foot's going to become a seat belt. So I'm here, we're hand fighting. I start setting this grip, and I turn myself off, not to where I'm completely 90'd off, but where I'm at a 45. You know, kind of 45 off this shoulder. Now, once I get to that position, I'm going to pull the collar down and around. Down and around. Same thing from when we did the power half choke. Push down and around there. Same concept's going to work here. Down and around. Now, I'm going to loosen this grip up purposely so I can talk through the finish of this choke and not kill Colby. On most days I would like to. So I'm here, I'm just going to loosen this grip. I pull down and around, and this foot's seat belted across him, and I'm keeping my foot active and kind of trying to scoop this thigh as much as I can. Now, my outside hand, I'm going to reach for my gun, and I'm going to try to roll up and grab that pant leg or his knee, whichever is a more comfortable grip for you. If you're not confident in your grip strength, I just scoop the leg. If you're confident in the grip strength or you're a little bit longer, you can just reach down and grab the pant. Now, there's going to be a couple different finish options for my other leg. We're just going to start with the more traditional. I'm going to cut this foot over the shoulder. I'm going to pull this, hammer away. So we're here. Collar, down and around. As we're hand fighting and making it look like he should focus on the choke, we get positioned. This hand sneaks out, and I'll scoop here. Foot comes, I'm trying to bring this foot over his shoulder, kind of hooking that arm at least. Sitting here. Now, if you pull down and around, see how that doesn't put the pressure on my wrist and I can just full start my mower here? That's where the strength of this choke comes from. Here, pull, push, keep this shoulder flat.
That elbow be easier to catch probably because he's going to be trying to rip that grip anyways, probably, right? So it'll be easier to catch.
Yeah, because he's going to start, the second this hand that goes around his collar, he's going to start trying to fight. That's why this foot's more active. Alright. Questions on this? I'm going to do a couple different angles. Questions? No, I'm trying not to kill Colby. So, when I'm actually trying to hit this, my grip should be right at the bottom of his chin. I don't have to reach way deep for this, just at the bottom of that chin, so that I can get my hand around. Now, the deeper there's kind of diminishing returns the deeper you get. So like, you can go to like that collarbone grip just to touch deeper, but if like I try to go like way deep there, I'm not going to be able to get my wrist around it. So I want to be kind of collarbone, kind of that looser grip. And the other thing it allows is it's a little sneakier that. Because if I set a real deep collar grip right here, I'll start hand fighting and break it. For now, this is actually enough grip for what I need right now. Things that I actually slap. That's the difference. Other options. Worth getting the foot over the shoulder because that's kind of the safest side. I want you to get that first. And it's more of a positioning than if he's squirming. Because if he's squirming, your leg will actually pop out. So like if I'm here and I get off to this side, he gets real squirming, he's going to squirm into it. So that's actually less of an issue than you would think. Here, and I'm pulling, keeping that tight hold. So if we're here, and he starts trying to roll his head out. Yeah, it's more in your wrist placement. That's why that pull down and around becomes super important. Because if I'm here and I just pull his collar across, see how my wrist is on the far side of his head? So when I go down and around, it allows me to put my wrist behind under his neck. That's the difference maker in this. That is the difference in between an effective bow and arrow and a really tight one. That inch that you gain. Other questions on this, because I'm going to do it basic. So, collarbone grip, or even just a touch more. Because if I get too deep in that collar, I can't go down and around. And the big goal is still to be able to get that collar across. Because for this choke, guys, the front part of the collar is getting the blood on this side. You should be catching air on this side, and your wrist on the far side should get the other piece. So realistically, this should be a 3 out of 3 choke, 2 blood and air. But realistically, it's probably at least a double. Other questions?
Let's say you already had a locked in on the guy in bottom. Is there any specific effects besides just for the collar?
Not good ones. We will go over those later tonight as far as what to do to keep yourself out of bow and arrow trouble. But if they get to the point where they're cranking the bow and arrow choke, not a lot of good things are happening. Alright, we'll walk through it a couple more times. So on here, set your grip, down and around. As you're doing that, angle off, grip. You guys know? We're here. Grip, down and around. Cut that angle off. Here. Questions on this? Anyone see like really tight one or anything? Anything else? Good, Derek, I gotta hit a really tight one. You're dumb enough to think that I'm not gonna hit it on you. You're a kid. Almost chose violence. Go here, down and around. Now once you get here, guys, pull as tight as you can. Questions on that? Guys, do not tap the mat in this one. Realize there's 20 of us on the mat tonight. So when I pull this down and around and you need to tap with your top hand on your partner's leg that's right here. It's not in, help them adjust it, but if you tap the mat and I'm dumb and not paying attention, no one will notice, you'll go unconscious. Questions, comments, concerns on that? Alright, so let's work under the assumption that not everyone on this team is super elite. Actually, as a team, we're not really known for our elite. So there's going to be a couple options you can hit on this. If you're less on the tall side or a little bit of mobility down. So on here, I get the same thing, guys. The utmost detail is down first. Tighten that collar. That will allow this choke to be effective. Now, as I'm doing that, I'm still going to cut my ankle. But let's say I just don't feel the confidence of bringing this foot here, right? Not all of you are going to have that. All we're going to do is we're going to help them up just a little bit as we cut this ankle. So on here, I'm going to cut and pop them forward just that little bit. My knee that helps me cut around, I'm now going to put across his back at a 45. Try to put my knee next to this side of his neck. Still gripping the pants, here. As I'm here, I'm going to roll him to this side. Tighten him. But when we're here, gripping, doing good things. Here, all I'm doing is giving myself that little bit of space, popping my elbow out, pulling him forward that little bit. I'm not trying to bend him in half or anything fun like that. Just trying to get him up just a touch to slip that knee in. I'm going to loosen my grip so Colby doesn't die. Here, popping this knee in, here. It should be on the inside of your elbow, the inside of his neck. Now, you don't want to finish from your side here. You want to use this knee and that hand to rotate him up. And finish rolling back this way. You can finish from this side if you got it tight, or you may finish it on your way to that side, but you don't want to try to finish from here. You want to try to be seated up. You'll see why for later iterations. Questions on that? I'm going to do it in a couple of minutes. So you guys can see the back angle. We're here, okay? That come across here. You guys can see it. We're here. So answer your question. Yes, you can. Questions on that? Work on that. We'll add a third one here. 1, 2, 3. I want you guys to keep working on the knee behind option. Blue belts and up, we need to make some more enemies in our life. So, we're here. I accept my grip. Boom, I cut my angle, right? And I go to come here, but the shoulder doesn't feel like it's enough. Behind the back isn't doing it for me. So all we're going to do is I'm going to bring my shin from the outside to his ear. This one's tight, in a hurry. Move up hitting that. Big detail on this one, guys, is when I'm here and I'm cutting this angle here, it's a lot of in the knee motion. The reason I had you guys do the knee on belly warm up today, because that knee motion and picking your heel up and bringing it to the other side, very efficient for this. Here, here. The goal is to be pulling your hand through the pit of your heel. Everything should be tight in a hurry on this. Even with a pretty loose grip, I'm here, bringing it here, pulling, pressing with my shin to the outside. Questions on this blue belts and up? White belts, you're still working that same one from left. Blue belts and up. Questions on this? Like I said, the setup is basically the same from the first one. You're here, we're hand fighting, we're doing all this funny stuff. I cut my ankle. This one, I'm going to lean as hard as I can because I want that grip. And it helps open my hip to bring that shin around the face.
Then you can finish more laying down on this one.
It finishes so much quicker that yes, you do. In an ideal world, or you get someone who's tough and doesn't tap real quick like a bitch, you try to sit them back up, but realistically, if you hit this well, they should tap you. Like we talked about, there's the you got me tap, and there's the get me the fuck out of here. I want that type of tap on this. This shouldn't be one where they're like, you got me, man. This should be they're tapping in a hurry. Other questions on this? You're saying about your transitioning off this to an arm bar is not easy regardless of which you're so there is an arm bar option off of this, but it's a last resort, throw it and hope. It's not a great plan to beat. Because here's what ends up happening when I'm in here. You're cut off to this angle here, and if you're here, at best you're trying to scoop and find this one here. But they're going to be defending that early because they're already in the forward position. So there's no sneak to it, there's not a lot of counter to it. And the counter to get out of this that will force you to move is the elbow escape, which then negates your arm. So the arm bar from here is going to be a separate setup. Not one we hit from the bow and arrow. Because realistically, the counter to a bow and arrow choke, guys, just as a preview for the next step, is to turn in and start getting this elbow as hard as you can. The problem with that is, it's really hard to arm bar. stuff, but the armbar becomes negated pretty quickly. Questions on the shin behind her upper belt?
Are you happy now?
Drill her out. 1, 2. We're going to go through a one-part series of how to counter a bow and arrow. So now I'm here. And as always, the smart-ass answer is, don't let them take your back and you can't get bow and arrow. But let's assume, we've made some mistakes in life, and he's starting to set some of this up. First thing I'm going to have to do is get my hand on this choking hand, and my inside hand has to come in as much as it can. You got to fight this bad boy in there. It's not going to be like, oh, he gave me this perfect position. He's going to be trying to choke you, and you're going to be trying to get this hand in and your chin down as much as possible. Now, assuming that we can't get there and he goes to start choking, first thing I'm going to do, my inside hand is going to dive under this ankle. As he goes to sit back, I have to start turning the heel. The goal is to go both hands inside of his legs. So as he's here and trying to sit back for this choke, the goal is to push this leg up just enough to get this elbow in. Because now if he goes to choke me in a serious manner, both hands out, back pass, defensive that knee, start that. So it's all defensive, hey, please don't choke me stuff, right up until he actually sits to that side, then it's escape. Have we gone over the difference in between defenses and escapes? Defenses, please don't do this to me. I'm going to stop you from doing it. Escaping is get the hell away from that position. So while we're here, he's going to choke me. This is all defensive stuff. Like I'm trying to break as much of his grips as possible, inconvenience him while I can, right? But as he starts to get more of this going, it goes from defensive motions to as he sits, I have to start escaping. Goal 1, get this up. Goal 2, get this down. So as he sits and goes to choke, I'm coming out and escaping as much as I can. Questions on this? Partners, all you're drilling is the setup to that first option we went over, just going over the shoulder. Questions on this? Drill her out. 1, 2, 3.